U25 News Now weekends at 5:30.
Good afternoon, Crossroads, and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Adam Seibel is off tonight. We begin in Wharton, where the Wharton Police Department responded to a shooting early this Sunday morning. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick has more.
Authorities have identified Zane LeKep as the alleged shooter regarding the incident in Wharton this morning. Law enforcement issued a warrant for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The victim, Jalen Tolbert, was life-flighted to Houston after he sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Although Wharton PD issued a warrant, the investigation is ongoing. If you know any information about Zane LeKep's whereabouts, you can submit tips safely and anonymously at www.p3tips.com. Your anonymous tips may qualify for a cash reward through East Wharton County Crime Stoppers. Karina, back to you.
Darius, thank you. With just hours left on the clock, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy got a bipartisan deal together that would fund the government for another 45 days. But the deal may cost Speaker McCarthy his job, as some in his own party are threatening to remove him from leadership.
On this vote, the yeas are 88, the nays are 9. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the passage of this bill, the bill is passed.
And with that, Congress avoided a government shutdown. After months of working on a deal, the Senate approved the measure after the House abruptly reversed course earlier in the day and passed a bipartisan bill.
Last night, Congress passed the spending bill that's going to keep the government open. And it's good news for the American people because the government will not shut down and a needless crisis will have been averted.
The stopgap measure will fund the government for 45 days as both sides work on a permanent deal. The bill includes natural disaster aid, but not additional funding for Ukraine, which was a sticking point for some lawmakers.
Putin is celebrating. We got 45 days to fix it. I don't see how the dynamics change in 45 days.
The bipartisan deal could also cost Kevin McCarthy his job as Speaker of the House, with some GOP members calling for his ouster as infighting over funding the bill escalated within his own party.
I think he is in trouble. Part of that is because there has to be some level of strong leadership in our chamber.
I do intend to file a motion to vacate against Speaker McCarthy this week. I think we need to rip off the Band-Aid. I think we need to move on with new leadership that can be trustworthy.
But the California Republican fired back at those threats and said, bring it on.
This is personal with Matt. He's more interested in securing TV interviews than doing something. He wanted to push us into a shutdown only because he wants to take this motion. So be it. Bring it on. Let's get over with it and let's start governing.
I'm Rob Kirkpatrick reporting.
Leading us into your Veer poll this evening, the question is, do you support dropping aid to Ukraine? Yes or no? According to these results, 29% stand at yes and 71% stand at no. We want to hear your opinion. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update tonight at 10. Now, time to talk weather on this Sunday night with meteorologist Howie Gordon. Howie, it's been some time. We haven't worked together in a minute.
I haven't seen you since last month, Karina.
Glad to have you back on, Howie.
Nice work with you as well. Yeah, it's been some time, and a lot of things have changed during that time. We were hot and dry all summer long, and now, that's right, couple of days in a row now with some consistent showers. We had over 2 inches of rain in some spots yesterday. We've seen already over an inch. But hey, you see now the coverage is a little deeper and thicker compared to yesterday. More moisture has moved in. But you still see a lot of open territory in the viewing area that hasn't really seen a drop of rain or too much of it. So more rain, but not a complete washout. The thing is, we are looking at days like this consistently with a cold front on the way that will knock our temperatures down. And we're going to talk about that in my full forecast coming up in just a bit. Karina?
Howie, thank you. Large groups of migrants, mostly from Venezuela, continue to arrive at the U.S.-Mexico border this weekend to present themselves to U.S. authorities and seek asylum. Hundreds of migrants who were stranded on a cargo train in Mexico were evacuated by police. The freight train they were traveling on top of abruptly stopped over fears around their safety. 60 northbound cargo trains run by Mexico's Ferromex were stopped last week after about half a dozen migrants suffered death or injury. The company later said it restarted some routes to avoid this, quote, heightened risk. And so now we head to the border city of El Paso, where officials there are converting an old middle school building into a center for migrants as a way to handle the recent migrant surge.
What we're going to use it for is specifically for community readiness purposes. The city of El Paso today giving media an inside look at what is now the Community Readiness Center. The city purchased this vacant building from EPISD for almost $4 million. That money came from the federal government.
If there is a migrant crisis, as we're seeing right now, we'll be able to stand this up and be able to provide shelter, food, and coordinate transportation. If there's a massive flood like what we saw in 2006, or in the case of Katrina, when the Katrina hurricane hit, there were some folks who ended up here in El Paso.
The center has 3 wings, one for women and children, the other for single adult males, and a space for intake and processing. The building used to be Moorhead Middle School and has been vacant for quite some time, so the city says a lot of cleanup was needed and they're still in need of one more permit.
Well, currently, at this point in time, it holds about 200 individuals, and so we could stand it up today, tomorrow, at any point in time.
The city says there's a process that migrants must go through in order to get access to the shelter and get a spot on a charter bus provided by the city or the state of Texas.
If a migrant goes up to this space, they have to go through the process. They cannot jump the line and jump the queue in order to get on one of the charter buses.
A migrant must first be encountered by the roving team, then they're taken to a shelter where they can get processed, and finally, they're able to either get to a shelter or get on a charter bus. The city says while the center will be opening, they will continue to use their other shelter options they have in place.
We have this space in addition to our hotels and Nations Tobins. Nations Tobins will remain active at this point in time.
And back in the Crossroads, a big congratulations to the Miss Cuero Court for winning first place in the Chambers and Festivals category and best overall in the Hallettsville Kolache Parade. The 27th yearly Kolache Fest happened yesterday at 7:30 a.m. with a 5K run and walk, followed by a parade at 10 a.m. and included activities like dominoes, a car show, a barbecue cook-off, and a Kolache baking event. Now, the traditional Nazareth Academy Fall Festival / Turkey Dinner took place today at the Victoria Community Center. This year marks the exciting return of the full festival experience, featuring a live auction, silent auction, raffle, kids games, and their famous turkey and dressing dinner. The money raised from this yearly event is used to provide valuable learning experiences, resources, and staff support beyond what the budget can provide, as well as helping maintain the facilities. And the festival is the first since the start of the pandemic. Victoria City Council set a meeting at 5 p.m. Monday. On the agenda is the approval of an agreement between the City of Victoria and Martin Emergency Group. And they'll also consider the approval of the yearly purchase of uniforms for the Victoria Fire Department. Council members will also appoint a member to the Board of Health. And Victoria County Commissioners are set to meet at 10 a.m. Monday. On the Commissioners' Court agenda is a proclamation for National 4F Week, as well as the approval of a resolution nominating a candidate for the Victoria Central Appraisal District Board of Directors, a review of a year-to-date numbers, and consideration of modifications to existing promotions at the Victoria Regional Airport. Almost 900,000 Texans have lost Medicaid since April, and a backlog of applications have since piled up. This is overwhelming the system and setting off a ripple effect that advocates worry is delaying families' access to SNAP food benefits. So you can read this story by the Texas Tribune on our Crossroads Today website. And finally, grab your cell phone and scan this QR code. This is our quick response code to download the Crossroads Today app. Watch us anytime, anywhere, and get breaking news alerts and vote in all our viewer polls. Learn all about our ongoing contest and submit news tips, videos, and photos. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 5:30 this morning. New questions about why it took authorities 27 years to arrest a suspect in the murder of Tupac Shakur.
We've been seeing a little rain with a little bit of a cool down. We're going to continue to see some of those showers. We might have a fall feel with some of these cooler temperatures. We'll talk about it coming up in just a bit.
A desperate search is taking place in upstate New York today for a missing 9-year-old girl. Authorities say the girl went missing while she was camping with her family on Saturday. They say Charlotte Sena decided to go on a bike ride with friends around dinner time. She did 2 loops around and then decided to do one by herself. That's when she never returned to the campsite.
Right now there's over 100 personnel deployed, 75 law enforcement on the ground, the 2 drones, an airboat, search team, 6 underwater rescue teams, another boat that has sonar. We are leaving no stone, no branch, no table, no cabin unturned, untouched, unexamined in our search to find Charlotte.
State police issued an Amber Alert for Charlotte on Sunday morning and asked anyone with information to come forward. New details surfaced following the arrest of the suspect in the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur, whose killing has been unsolved for nearly 3 decades.
This morning, new questions about why it took authorities 27 years to arrest 60-year-old Dwayne Keith Davis for the murder of Tupac Shakur. Overnight, we spoke to the former investigator who worked on both the Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G.'s murder case, who says Davis set himself up.
He was under what we call the proffer agreement back in 2009 on his initial confession. And that agreement states that we can't use the information in that interview against him.
After being questioned in 2009, Davis gave multiple interviews and wrote a tell-all memoir detailing specifics about the night of the murder, including this one to BET.
You said the shots came from the back. Who shot Tupac?
To keep it for the code of the streets. It just came from the backseat, bro.
It was those public comments that reinvigorated the case.
He erroneously believed that he had immunity, which he never did. And so that gave him this sense of comfort, that thinking that he could go out and brag about being involved in the murder without any repercussions.
Now, it's been nearly 2 months since devastating wildfires ripped through Hawaii. Hundreds of people left their homes to escape the flames, and now some will return home for the first time since those fires broke out. Authorities announced today they will reopen 3 zones. The government will allow people back in the area starting Monday, and authorities are asking the media to stay away so residents can maintain their privacy, as these fires were to blame for at least 97 deaths. Tens of millions of Americans with federal student loans will have to resume making payments starting today. Now, more than 40 million people must face a new reality amid nagging inflation and rising interest rates. And collectively, those borrowers owe approximately $1.6 trillion in student loans. The Biden administration tried to cancel up to $20,000 in student debt for eligible borrowers. However, the program was struck down by the Supreme Court back in June. For more on today's news stories, come to crossroadstoday.com. Don't forget, submit your birthday wishes so Sunrise anchor Carolina Astrain can read them live on 25 News Now Sunrise. You can also submit a local military hero so we may recognize them.
More showers in the forecast, plus some cooler air. We'll talk about it straight ahead. right, good Sunday afternoon. I think it's a good one for a lot of Texans. Houston won. Dallas is up pretty big, so good day football-wise. What is it like local weather-wise? Well, our temps today, for the most part, stayed under 100 by a degree. The real feel was 99. Rain in the forecast, and we saw that. Cold front later on this week. What did we do today? Okay, so 92, that's a little bit of an improvement. That's coming down with the heat, the real feel, the heat indices. We did make it to 99, but staying under 100 overall is a great accomplishment, especially what we suffered through really since the 1st of June. 102 back in 1926, but here we are, yes, still above average temperature-wise. We might get closer to that 88, though, in the near future. Here's what we have. Similar to yesterday, I think it's a little bit more widespread, but some areas not really seeing it. A lot of this taking place in the southwest portion of our viewing area, so more moisture has moved in, running into some unstable areas. The sun heats us up, but overall, I think we've had a little bit more rain in selected areas, but overall, I think drier area-wide. Now, just because it's dry in Edna, dry in Hallettsville, dry in Victoria for the most part, hey, yeah, we're seeing rain in other portions of the viewing area, and you're seeing that now. Now, what we're seeing, these could continue really much of the week with some rain, and then eventually a cold front can help with that rain and bring us colder temperatures. Here we are. So ambient temperatures down, even though moisture levels, they're not too bad. They're on the higher side for the most part. We still push up to 99 with that real feel. But the thing about it is, with cooler temperatures, a cold front, rain, and cloud cover, we're going to see these numbers overall go down, even though we have more moisture in the area. So we got really used to 115, 117 all year. Today we got stuck at 99, and really a good portion of the week, we might stay for the most part at that 100 mark or even a little bit below. Let's look at what we're estimating here. So Monday, under 100 again, but we go back up Tuesday, Wednesday. That cold front comes down. Look at this, 98 for Thursday. Friday, a real feel of just 87. That's going to feel beautiful. All right, high pressure control on us, but we're still seeing moisture and destabilization bringing us rain. There's the boundary that's headed our way. That's going to make its way into the area Thursday and into Friday. It's going to help move into all this moisture, create more showers and thunderstorms, but a little bit of cooler air is going to move in, and it's also going to wring out the atmosphere, dry us out, less moisture and cooler temperatures, and it's going to feel, it might feel very, very much like fall after this boundary moves through the area. Here's a look at what we got going on for our rain. Okay, future tracker. Again, I'm not seeing complete washouts. Maybe some heavy rain at times in other areas, but again, this might, maybe Tuesday, that looks like it's hitting us pretty good, but it's moving through, for the most part, rather quickly. So some areas could stay dry at times, but other areas, yeah, we could see some heavy rain, similar to what we had yesterday here across the viewing area. That water continues to start dropping. Look at that, 84 degrees, seas occasionally up at 5 feet. That'll keep our bays on the choppy side. All right, the Gulf is looking clean and clear, nothing storm-wise. Rena downgraded to a depression, but still just going in the middle of nowhere. Felipe going to impact some of the Caribbean islands. They're under watches right now for tropical storms, but Felipe is going to, you see my hand here, it's going to continue to go out into the middle of nowhere, but maybe impacting Bermuda. Depends how strong it is by the time it arrives, but we're looking really good here in South Texas. 80s this evening, overnight dropping down to 74. I got a 30% chance for more of those showers. And then for tomorrow, 90, a little breezy. I got a 40% chance of some rain. You saw it on all the models that I just showed you. And then looking ahead, I guess let's go right to it. We are looking at daily rain, but then this boundary comes through. I got a possible alert day that's going to bring us some showers and then cooler temperatures as well. Hey, that might be a welcome to fall, as today is the first day of October. For more weather news and sports, you go to our app. That's at crossroadstoday.com. That is free with any Android and iPhone. And Zach is waiting patiently. He said, hurry up, get it over to me, Howie. Well, here's sports with Zach.
Well, that's because Bailey Zappi just hit the field and the Texans got a big win coming up in sports. Well, the Houston Texans today welcoming the Pittsburgh Steelers into town, looking for their second straight victory. And the Texans, wearing their battle red jerseys, get a touchdown on their opening drive, up early, 13-0 lead on the Steelers. They actually led 16-0 at the half. Houston's defense all afternoon relentless. When Pittsburgh came out swinging in the second half, they still only allowed a few field goals. Houston wins 30-6 and moves to 2-2. Well, the Cowboys welcoming a familiar face to town in Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys trying to get back in the win column after falling to Arizona last week. Dak Prescott connecting with CeeDee for an early TD. Later on in this one, Mac Jones would fumble. The Cowboys defense scoring at the half. The Cowboys were all over the Patriots. 28-3. It's gotten so bad for Dallas. Bailey Zappi had to come in for the Patriots. The Rangers came into today needing a win to secure the division title and get a bye to go into the ALDS. Well, the Seattle Mariners had other ideas. They were able to scratch out a run in the fourth inning. That was the only offensive output in the game. The Mariners get the 1-0 victory. So the Astros, with an unbelievable chance to snag the West on the final game of the season, they were still alive for the division, needing a win, and the Rangers lost. That's exactly what happened. The Astros scored often in this one. They beat the Diamondbacks and have won the American League West. They will await the winner of George Springer and the Blue Jays, or Carlos Correa and the Twins. The UHV Jags, fresh off its Red River Athletic Conference Championship, got to step back out on the diamond last night. They scrimmaged Wharton County Junior College to get a little bit of work in. Coach Stavanoa was happy to be playing someone other than themselves. The Jags, reaping the benefits of their success, got a fantastic recruiting class. The JUCO Baseball blog ranks it as the 19th best in the nation. They look to build off a season in which they ran off 6 postseason wins. And while the baseball team was out on the diamond, the girls kicking it down at the cage and rattling some nets. A beautiful free kick here is going to make it 5-1 Jags. That was off the foot of Trine Stenderup Jorgensen, and they wasted absolutely no time adding another great pass here to Katie Cox 2 minutes later. That's going to find the back of the net, and that would make it 6-1. She had a hat trick on the day, part of a 7-goal outpour from the Lady Jags. That win was the 100th win in program history. Over on the men's side, they used 4 second-half goals, capped off by this one. Great move by Mateo Canales to get past the goalkeeper. Final score, 4-0 Jags. And today, the Texans inducted J.J. Watt into their Ring of Honor. Watt donated nearly $1 million to the food bank of the Golden Crescent that Robin Cato says helped keep them in business. Today, the Texans inducted him in their Ring of Honor. He joins Texans great Andre Johnson. That's it for your sports. Karina, back to you.
Thank you, Zach. Now stay with us. Coming up, the famous Ringling Bros Circuits finally returns, and we have the details. We want to invite you to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your Connected TV through Amazon, Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. And finally, the Ringling Brothers is coming back after a 6-year hiatus, but its animals are not. Whether or not that makes it a circus is debatable, but the company says it's sure of one thing: people will pay to see people do amazing things. That means no more watching an elephant play basketball. Instead, fans can see a teenage human rocket and a record-setting unicyclist. The first show is in Louisiana, with 2 years of stops across the country already planned. Well, I guess that's good. You still keep the fun and you take out the animals. Get to see people.
because you just said off air, it's about the animal cruelty. Why the kind of it's waning. You know, the circus isn't around as much. I went to one in Alaska a couple years. I don't remember any animals, but you said years ago you went on the elephant back in.
Back in the Renaissance, back at the Houston Renaissance Festival, I did catch a ride on an elephant. It was fun. What can I say? Fun stuff.
Cool. That's pretty cool. I see a lot of people. They go on those elephants. They go out in the rivers when they go out of country. And looks fun. I'd like to do it one of these days. Now, weather-wise, what's going on here? So it's a new month. Fall started about a week and a half or so ago, and now cool air is finally starting to head towards the crossroads. Here's that boundary. I'm expecting Thursday into Friday, so we're going to look at some showers, and then eventually that boundary is going to clear the area, and we're looking at some cooler weather. This evening we'll be in the 80s, overnight dropping down to 74. I got a 30% chance of some showers. We're seeing some scattered showers across the viewing area at the moment. We can continue to see that. Some areas staying completely on the dry side. Then tomorrow, 90 degrees, breezy, 25-mile-per-hour winds, another 40% chance of some more showers. And looking ahead, let's fast forward. There's that boundary coming through. Temperatures finally going to feel fall-like around here.
Okay, cool. That's what we like to see, right?
Okay, cool. You said okay, cool.
Alrighty, well, thank you for joining us. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Have a great weekend.